Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to explore the Supabase authentication with client-side rendering. So there are multiple examples of server-side and all which I found on GitHub, and at other places there are multiple tutorials, but no one is talking about client-side rendering, which I guess in my opinion should be talked about because not everyone is using the edge functions to compute or to get anything until and unless they have some use case, like they want a server where, let's say, they want the service role to be used, or they want something confidential which can't be exposed to the public or directly to the client. So in that case, SSR, keeping the SSR on is fine, but for creating an application which is just client facing and does not include any confidential things, it is better to just go with CSR. Everything comes with a cost. So with SSR, you need to bear the cost of the server, of the edge function that it will use. So this video is going to be all about authentication with Supabase inside Sveltekit application. So let me show you my Supabase setup. So I have a project, and in this, in authentication section, I basically have a user. So let me do this. Let me create new user. So test youtube@gmail.com, and then for password, I would be keeping it password itself and create user. So we have a user being created with email this. Let me copy this so that I can use it. So in the project setting, if I just show you about the authentication setting, I have allow new user to sign up, and this is the default restriction and the default setting that Supabase provides. So there's nothing special. Let me show you the documentation also once. Supabase JS is the npm library. So let me show you the sign in with ID and password. Sign in a user. So this is the normal sign in with ID and password. We have created a user. We will try to log in with this itself. There are multiple integrations with different applications. You can use Auth or you can use SSO also. Then there are multiple method inside the Auth section itself. You can go through all this. I will add the link to the description. In the upcoming video, we will also be going to sign in or create a user using like the Google login. So without wasting any time, let's directly go to the code. So this is a normal Sveltekit application without TypeScript. So let me show you the packages that I have. So I just have this dependency, which is supabasejs, which I just show you. And then in the environment file, I have the API token and domain and schema. All these are public. This is the NN role and this is the domain. So let me show you from where you can get these. So if you go head on to the Supabase, and then if you go to the API section, you will see the URL and the NN role. And this is the service role, which we won't be using because it should be kept confidential, and we are using client side rendering, so we can't use this as it will be exposed. So let's move to the VS Code again. So let me show you the Supabase client that I have set up. So in this, I have used the create client. So I just used the create client that I got from the Supabase JS, and then I've supplied all the different parameters to the method, which is basically domain and the public API token from which we get the client. And then these all are auto-generated files. We won't be going in them. Let's move to the authentication part. So we are in the routes folder. In the routes, first let's see the layout.js file. In the layout.js, we are getting the session from the, this is the client that we created that I just show you, and it have a auth property. Inside the property, we have a method called get session. If there is a session, it will return the user, and every consequent files can use it. Basically, how data flow in Svelte is, first the layout is load functions is called, then the particular route page.js is called, and all the data are combined and then shipped to the page.svelte or layout.svelte. So let me show you the layout.svelte. Inside this, I'm just importing the app.css, and I have a slot for rendering the application. And then in the page.svelte, like this is the root URL. When someone lands on the application, this is the root URL. So let me just turn on the server and show you what npm run dev, what I'm talking about. So let me change the view. So let me go to the website. So don't go on the UI. I have not worked on it much. I'll just copy pasted the code of UI. So we have a simple login form and we have an account route as well. But if we go to access the account route, it will throw us to login because we are not logged in yet, right? So I will show you all the code of this. So if you go to the root, we are again going to login, which is basically this piece of code. So what this piece of code is doing, it is just taking the user. So in layout.js, we are returning the user, and in the base.result, the user will come here if we are logged in. So if we are logged in, I just throw it to the account section, and if we are not logged in, I just redirect to the login section. So go to is the result redirection type, like to redirect to a URL. So then I have used route grouping. So insert route grouping is something like in parentheses, if we can give a name to the group, and it will not be added to the URL, but the folder inside it will be the main URL. Let me go to the unauthenticated group. So inside this, we have again one more layout.js. In this layout.js, what we are doing is we are just getting the parent, like this piece of code is used to fetch the parent data. Like this is the parent of this, so it will fetch the parent data, and it will just wait until the data have been received. So if we have a user, I'm just redirecting to the account section. So let's say we are logged in and then we try to log in again, like access any unauthenticated route. I'm just redirecting or throwing the user back to the main page or the authenticated section if user is authenticated. So let's see the login page. In this, I have few CSS, and then I have a form. Inside the form, I have two inputs for email and password. And then on submit of the form, I just call the, let me remove this. I just call the supabase.auth dot sign in with password, which I just show you the method under Supabase documentation. In this, we need to supply the email and password. I have not added any validations and all. That is not the scope of this project. So then I'm checking the error. If I don't have any error, then I throw to the account, and this basically is invalidating all the parent data. Like in the layout.ts, we are fetching the user using the get session, right? But if we just use go to, and it will go to the account section, but the parent function will not be rerunning, right? The parent function would not rerun. So for force rerunning all the parent function, I have used invalidate all and set to true, which is the second parameter to the goto function. Let me explain the code flow. So on submit, this function will be called, and inside this function we have a try catch block. So let's ignore the try part for now. Inside the catch, we are just catching the error if we have any error. It could be made better, like we can show the error and all, but that is again not in the scope of the project. So in the try block, we are using the Supabase sign in with password method, and if we do not have any error, we are redirecting. Then if we go to the authenticated, so I've shown you, let me show you the UI ones, and let me just try to log in with some different user. Let me try to log in with some random ID that does not exist. And if I press on login, if I show you the console, if I press on login, it gives me like it is a bad request. As let me show you the, it also gives the message like input invalid login credentials, that is our login credentials are not right. So let me try to add correct credentials. Wait. Yeah, so we created this ID, right? yd@gmail.com, then password is password. If I hit on login, I am logged in, and see the route, it is slash account route now. And also I will show you this piece of code later. So now let's move to the VS code again. So we have seen till here, we are login, and then we are throwing to account section, invalidating all the parent, so that all the parent runs again, it fetches the session again. So let's go to the authenticated group. Inside the authenticated group, we have layout.js. In this, again, we are calling the parent. And if we do not get user, we are redirecting to the login section. All this piece of code can be extracted out, but for the sake of the video, I'm not going in the optimization or anything. To keep it really simple, I have done this, like created separate layout files. So in the layout, so what is happening here is, if we try to access any route in the authenticated group, what this file will do is it will try to get the user. If it get the users, it is fine. If it does not get the user, it will redirect to the login section. So let's see the layout.svelte file. In this, I don't have any much code. This is just a copy pasted code from Supabase, but we do not need it. I will explain it. We do not need it, but I will explain what is going on inside the code. So for now, we have a slot. in which we are rendering the account or any other routes that we have. Then in the account, let's go to the page.js. We are again getting the user from the parent, and then we are returning the user. This is also not required, as we can directly get the user inside the .svelte file, because the nature of Sveltekit is like a waterfall model. So all the parent data gets combined and we get the data inside this export-let data. This is the syntax to get the data from the parent load function. So from this data, we are extracting the user out, like just destructuring the user. And then I have a simple button, and then the user info, the user that we got, I'm just showing the complete user, and then we have some few styles. So let me show you the what is going on in sign out. So I'm again taking the Supabase from the client that we have created, then using the auth property and sign out method to just sign out. And if we do not have any error in signing out, I'm redirecting to the login, again invalidating all the parent so that we are redirected properly. So let me show you in the interface what I'm saying. So now we are here. I'm just showing the user info. You can see this is complete JSON that Supabase give us once the user is logged in. So we have a logout button, and if I just press on it, it takes back me to the login section. Now if I try to access the account, I get redirected back, and if I go to the root, I again redirected back to the login. So let me quickly log in again. So it was testyt@gmail.com and password was password. And if I just log in, if I try to go to the login page now, it will throw me to the account page. And if I try to go to the root, it will stay on the account page itself. So this was all about authenticated and authenticated group. So one thing which I have left is in the authenticated section in layout.svelte, this piece of code. What this is doing is basically it is subscribing to an event that is on auth state change event that is coming out from the, again this is the client that we have created, and this is the auth property. Inside it we have a method of on auth state change. Like if there is any changes in the authenticated state of the user, like let's say when user sign in, sign out, or user signed in for the first time, or this password created token refresh, so everything we can use this also. Like this, what this return is doing is it basically unsubscribing. So in Sveltekit, if we return from on mount, it will run on the on destroy. So on destroy, we are just killing the subscription, like unsubscribing from the on auth state chain. Inside this we have a callback. In the callback we will get event in session. So what we can do is, instead of using all the go to and all, we could have also done this. Like if we are signed in, I can just directly go to the account section, invalidating everything, validate all to true. And if I sign out, I can just go to the login section and invalidate all to true. This will also work if we place it in outside of this, because it is currently in the authenticated. So we need to place it in the root of the project so that it works for both authenticated and unauthenticated route. We could have done this, but it will introduce some lag. Like let's say when user signed in, so as soon as the user press on the login button, this will be kicked in. Like we will get a auth state change event. But before this, if we want to like there will be some lag basically. For some cases, this will be useful for sure. Like when we update the user, we want the user to be updated in the global store or something like that. We can use this. Like, so if you have any doubt, just add a comment. I will be happy to resolve it. If you like the video, to hit the like button, and for more such content, to subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I release a new video.